we can feel as if we are going through life just holding on, just barely keeping it together. So here's an EFT tapping for this. So taking full responsibility for your own well-being and repeating after me. Let's go with that flow and let's begin to tap. Even though I feel like I'm holding it together, there's a lot of emotions that I feel as if I'm just keeping it together and barely getting by. And I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Even though I'm really trying to keep it together. And this pain that I'm holding on to feels like it's breaking through. That of which I'm holding on to. And I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Even though I might fear the perceptions of others if I can't hold it together. So I maintain this facade of holding it together, which might not be the true me. And I'm open to loving and accepting myself. I know too much. I know too much, and that is my problem. But therein lies a problem. Because if I know too much, I also know what is the problem and also how to solve the problem. But something is preventing me from addressing these problems within myself. These emotional problems. These problems that are causing me emotional distress, emotional disharmony, that I'm trying to maintain my composure, to not be seen as a failure, to not be seen as a letdown. So I just hold it together and try and keep my composure to this emotional disharmony within myself. I know too much. And sometimes knowing of a problem is the avoidance of a problem. And I can know and know and know, which takes me further away from having to address this problem that I'm holding on to. I can read a lot of books and watch a lot of videos about swimming. And I may feel that I know how to swim. But when I jump in the deep end of all these emotions, I might struggle. Because knowing is different from doing. And putting these knowledge into action. And I might feel emotionally overwhelmed at times. Because I just don't know what to do. Overwhelmed by these emotions. These feelings that are calling out for help. And love is a doing word. I love someone else. And I do a lot for them. And they do a lot for me. But if I'm holding on to a problem, just barely holding on, trying to keep it together, I have to ask myself, what am I doing for myself? If someone that I love is calling out for help, do I ignore or avoid? Or do I spring into action and address this problem? Start doing some loving things for myself by starting to sit with this problem. Having that emotional capacity to be there for myself, and to know that there are some things that prevent me from doing this. There might be a lot of emotional intensity that I'm afraid of going into. That deep end might be too deep for me. So I avoid this. And any problem that I avoid doesn't get better by itself. These things that I'm holding on to, like caring for someone else, it's not about trying to fix the problem. It's holding the space for that problem. Sitting with that problem and allowing it to have its voice. Not judging, not criticizing, not fearing what others might think about me. I think I've had enough thought for one day. Perhaps I want to sit with my emotions as a sign of love, as an act of love for myself, to no longer avoid myself, to no longer give these emotions a silent treatment. I want to treat myself with kindness by recognizing there are some emotions and some feelings that need attending to. All this hurt that I've been holding on to. I've been trying to get by, soldier on, and maintain these problems, which may have been what I had to do in the situation to get through and to simply survive in a moment. But I don't want to keep on surviving in the rest of my life, living in a survival response. I want to sit with these emotions and say that that fear is no longer here, and I'm safe to be with my emotions now. I no longer want to live in fear and hold on to it. I'm holding a space, rather, for this fear to have its voice, to say it wasn't right, to have its voice, and to say that I was afraid. Allow that emotion to flow, not hold on to it, because I have many emotions that do come and go. As long as I allow them to go, so I can have more emotions to come in. I mean, not my emotions. My emotions don't identify me. So I don't need to cling on to a set of emotions. All this hurt, I don't have to keep it together. Because what am I keeping together really? This facade of trying to be perfect? Perfect of holding on to this pain? Or maybe that was the response. Because if I was seen as being a nuisance, I may have received hurt. So have I learnt to be in denial of myself? I don't want to deny my emotions. All this anger that I might be feeling. This is my anger. This is my response to something wasn't right. I may have not allowed to be feeling this injustice that was done to me. It was wrong that what was happened to me. And I might have been holding on to this wrong feeling. of this poison that someone else did to me. I don't want to hold on to that poison. That doesn't make me feel right. I want to love for myself, because that might have been what I was seeking and got something else instead. I'm allowing this anger to be. I'm allowing this anger to tell me something wasn't right. And I'll listen to that response as a form of self-defense, as a form of self-care, when someone tried to do wrong to me. All my emotions are valid, and I'm validating my experiences by sitting with my experiences and allowing them to flow. I'm not an angry person for having violations done to me. This was me saying no, in my environment not listening. I'm listening to myself now. I'm no longer holding on to that. Allowing it to flow from my chest to my stomach. From my voice that was trying to scream out. I'm allowing this to flow. I'm allowing the grief that happened to me to start to process with all of its mix of emotions that come and go, simply to process. I'm getting out of the way of that process. To know that sometimes I won't be at my best, which does allow me to be at my best, because I know that I'm going through a process of pain that was inflicted upon me, and the loving attention that I'm giving myself. I'm noticing where it sits in my body. I'm also noticing where it goes from my body. That some intensity will increase and will decrease. This energy emotion, this emotion that flows in and out like a wave. This surge of strong emotions and the quiet and settling as I allow it to flow and go from my body. Allowing myself to experience rather than control the tide and surge. Allowing myself to go with that flow. I'm not holding on to painful emotions. I'm knowing that pain will happen, but that pain doesn't define me. And if I let it confine me, I'm letting it go with the flow. All this sadness, all this denial, all this remorse, all this regret, all this injustice, all this wanting love, all this isolation, all this blame, all this guilt, all this shame, all these things that I've been made to feel no longer define me, no longer have to hold on to, because I'm here for myself, loving myself, caring for myself, treating myself with the compassion that I do deserve, rather than the pain that was inflicted upon me. Everyone else has their responsibilities. Everyone has their things to learn from. I learn from myself. As I get wiser within myself, to know there are some things that happen to me and some things that aren't part of me. I'm letting go of that wound that I've been holding on to. Even a doctor that needs to address a wound needs me to allow it to let go so that I can attend to myself and attend to myself with loving care. I no longer need to avoid myself. I no longer need to fear myself. I'm here for myself, caring for myself, and wanting the best for myself by giving myself the better treatment than that of which I received. I'm holding on to the capacity of being an emotionally mature and an emotionally loving person within myself, in mind, body, and spirit. I'm taking a full breath in and out. And with all maturing, it's a growing process. It's a learning of ourselves and a nurturing process. Similar to a seed, you nurture it so it can break free from that shell and start to take root and grow to be a tree. And that tree will go with the flow of what life throws at it. But it's better to be flexible than to be stiff and immovable. So we want to be going with the flow of the wind and how it carries us through life. So I'm Dion from Eflowtion Support Services for EFT Tapping one-on-one online for a deeper experience. So check out eflowtionsupportservices.com and I'll see you next week in another video. Bye for now.